The most widely published book in human history reveals that we are created in the image of God. Throughout our human journey, each encounter is an opportunity to see the shared humanity in ourselves and others. Regardless of one's views on religion, each experience and each story weaves us together towards a common path. A path of transformation, a process of growth and understanding, a recognition that, at our core, we share a common destiny. What does the search for truth really mean in our lives? How can we find a sense of unity in a world so diverse and divided? As we reflect on these questions, we start to uncover a fundamental connection that binds us all beyond our differences. Welcome to Created in the Image of God, Building Vibrant Communities, with our host, Wade Franson. Tonight's episode is Faith, Music, and Technology.
Good morning, everyone. It's Wade Franson here with a pre-recorded show for episode 167. Imagine that, 167 episodes now of Created in the Image of God for the August 12th evening. And the reason we're pre-recording this early in the morning, you'll hear it in my voice a little bit, is because my guest hails from on the other side of the pond, a place where I spent 10 years, Germany. We were just talking about German idioms and the fun differences in language. We're going to get into a different kind of language today. We're going to get into the universal language of music. Our guest hails from the northern part of Germany. We'll maybe talk a little bit about the German language too, Hochdeutsch and Plattdeutsch and so on. But for those who are geeky and interested in languages. But our guest is named Dominic Pedig, and he will be sharing how his original music compositions bring together faith and the precision of technology in order to forge human connections. Part of his day job is working with senior citizens, helping them with technology. He has a gentle, patient way of forging these human connections and helping, I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, helping those old dogs learn new tricks, because we can, even those of us who are getting on in age, with the help of with the help of a patient guide. Welcome to the studio, Dominic.
Thank you very much for this awesome introduction of myself. Yeah, very glad to be here.
Well, I've really enjoyed getting to know you. It takes me back to my time in Germany, a place that I really loved being. I was there for almost 10 years. And also at this stage in my life, I've shared with the audience maybe one or two times that my wife and I every Sunday are now visiting a group of friends that have developed over time in an assisted living facility, a nursing home essentially, where people are, sadly sometimes sort of placed when they have no family. And it can be a very dark place for them in the sense that this is the end of the line. This is, the last stop on the station, and they're aware of it. And having been going there every week for a couple of years now, and increasingly we go there also, 2 or 3 evenings a month and have a meal with them that we bring, to just really forge a deep connection with them as friends, which they recognize because of our consistent, patient developing of that friendship and relationship. So I'm looking forward to getting your perspective on that, but we'll start with your creation story about how you came to this planet, to this, as we call it, the Garden of Eden, the blue-green jewel floating through space, and the circumstances which the divine decided, perhaps in conjunction with you in some mystical pre-birth way, as to how and where you would land on this planet and what your role, your job, your purpose would be. So let's go back to those earliest experiences, your early memories, and who your parents were and whatnot. Just dive in and share your background with us.
Yeah, let me just give you a brief introduction, like how I landed on this planet, like you said. I'm born in North Rhine-Westphalia, I think in English it's translated. It's like near Hanover, Osnabrück there. It's so in the northern east part of North Rhine-Westphalia. I grew up in a city called Bad Oeynhausen. And yeah, there I spent my first 19 years, I think. My father and mother divided or divorced as I was like 2 or 3, so I don't even got memories of that. Um, yeah, and the life was all right, and I had a tough time also, but yeah, I wasn't like really having like a bad childhood or something. I couldn't tell that, but of course it's difficult when your father is gone and there's coming another person that wanna be your father, your stepfather and stuff. But yeah, and
So
yeah,
so let me
since
pause you there for a moment because now I
yeah,
didn't know that about you,
yeah,
and
true.
now
I didn't
we have a
tell. Yeah.
connection because divorce shaped my life dramatically, and it was not a pleasant or good thing, but yours sounded like it was at least maybe cordial and your parents still got along. Was there shared custody? Did you get to see your father? Tell us a little bit about how that was.
Actually, it wasn't like good at all, but because like my father said like, yeah, I'm gonna pick you up the next weekend, and then mother told me no, he's not coming. He said he had got something other to do or something, and I even remember like one time he picked me up and he said, yeah, we're going Frühshoppen, we say in German. That means you're like going at 8 o'clock to the pub and drinking beer, like, and that's of course something that your little child shouldn't experience with his father. So that was like clearly things that yeah, also opened my mind even as a young child. And yeah, you couldn't really have like respect or say, yeah, I'm glad my father's picking me up or something. It was rather like I was often at my grandmother, both of my father's side and both of my mother's side. And that's like where I also got my yeah, ability to be who I am today, and my how do you say, like morals and stuff, like they teach me the most, that make out myself now. Like that's where I gotta say thank you, grandma, grandpa, that you've been there for me, you know, because it was like, if I remember, like one weekend you were at the one grandmother, the other you're at the other, and if you like realize the parents, they always wanted to get out and do party and stuff. Like if you rewind this now, you know.
So your mother was also a little bit of a partier, and is that perhaps how your parents met? Because mine were. That's what
Yeah,
my
yeah.
situation was.
I think so, yeah. And like also my stepfather was also always involved in going out and drinking, and that's also like what I then later avoided. Like I wasn't into drinking and going out, so as I became older and older, I realized more and more I'm more the person rather staying home. So, and if you want to go on with the story, like, I've realized even during my school time, I had to leave as soon as possible. And like after my school, then I just directly left to Hamburg. It was like 250 kilometers north, so the second biggest city in Germany. And yeah, had a boyfriend there. Then I could live with him. And yeah, that lasted about a few years. Then I met another boyfriend and online, and he came from Munich. And then I suddenly said, yeah, why not move to Munich? And he invited me to come to his place. And yeah, I've been 1 year in Munich, and then I said I can't stand Munich anymore. The people are so narrow-minded, and I didn't even get to know one person, one friend outside of my boyfriend's friends group. And
So
I said,
let me jump in there and for
yeah,
the audience because I
sorry,
know a lot about this. No, it's fine. I know
yeah,
a lot about this. When I first came to Bonn, Germany, I was in Bonn, which I think is also still in North Rhine-Westphalia. Maybe
yes,
no.
true, in the middle
It's on
of
the
it,
southern
yeah,
or
southern middle, yeah,
certainly south from you, right? And these are
Mm.
states in Germany, like we have states here, sort of different,
Yes.
slightly different. But anyway, Munich is in the deep south, and south southeast, and it was always a very conservative. The CDU, right, was a typical
True.
political party there. So it might be more equivalent to some of the divide between the north and the south here in the United States as
True.
well, politically, in terms of the attitudes and the approaches of the people. So just so the audience has a sense, especially the American
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
And then but I wanted to touch on this whole aspect of learning morality from your grandparents, because I think there's always any strength we have. I like to describe it as a pillar, right? A strong pillar that can stand and hold up the building. But even a
Mhm.
pillar casts a shadow, right? Because nothing in the human plane is perfect, in the sense of we're all growing and learning and changing. There's always opportunity to improve and increase, who and what we are. And at the same time, every dark side means that even the candle in the dark appears much brighter than it is, and much more attractive and much more useful, right? So if you're going through a dark period, as it sounds like you were with your parents, the moral light of your grandparents contrasting with the pain that you experienced from how you were being treated by your father, and even probably by your mother and stepfather, they might have had a lot of fun with their drinking and partying, but the implications of that for the people around them can be very strong and very felt, especially those who are vulnerable and dependent, like children.
Mhm.
So the good news is, in processing all of this, your moral compass comes from those circumstances,
True.
from understanding what it is you don't want versus what you do want, what does work, what doesn't work, right? It's what life's about. And it's very difficult when you're going through it. But I feel an affinity there with you, because it's very much the experience that I had. My moral compass, my desire to do good and be good, came from the pain that I felt
Mhm.
with how this situation and what my parents were doing wasn't working for me at all, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Awesome that you're like, resonating with this. So it's a good thing that we met, I think.
Well, and then also the empathy that gets developed from that pain, the empathy which allows us to understand other people, and maybe brings a little bit of that patience. I personally struggle with patience. My weakness, frankly, is patience. I'm constantly trying to
Yeah.
have more patience. Perhaps comes more natural to you to be patient. I have to really work at it. But now, being with these older people, I'm seeing the fruit of it and the joy of having that patient approach with them.
I totally know what you're talking about, because like my thing is also learning to be patient. So I'm also evolved a bit more, but I have been some impatient.
Yeah. So where does now the interest in technology come in, and the orientation towards the elderly? When did that enter in your life?
Yeah, let me just get on with it. Like then I
Sure.
said, please let me
From where you
go.
were? Yep.
I want to go back to Hamburg, and my boyfriend first then cried, and I said, no, please come with me. And then he said, oh, all right, we're doing this. So and he searched for a new job, and then we went to Hamburg, and in 2015, then I finally decided. I was thinking a long time of this, like becoming elderly care, but always people said like, yeah, no, it's such a hard work and blah. You have to lift people, and it's so heavy. And but then all of this talk, negative talk, couldn't stop me. Then at some point, and I said, yes, I want to be a geriatric nurse. I directly do the third year. Ausbildung, education, that you have to do to be a Fachkraft, we say. And yes, I did this, and it was a lot of pressure for me, and I took so much pressure on myself, because I've always like wanted to be the best, like work so hard, be perfect, like do the best grades, and I know this, that I put so much pressure on myself. And then as I was after this 3 years doing the exam and sitting there in the middle of February having a cold nose, like unbelievable and writing this exam, and I think that's not that bad, you can do this. And then I realized I know I can make it, and it was such a like pressure for me to do this, but in the end I succeeded and everything was fine, and I had a good enough grades and nothing was bad, and I was like really getting my self-confidence back, or even realizing that I have confidence inside of myself. Like, and yeah, that totally changed everything. And I'm doing this now 10 years, like since the education started in 2018, I did end the education. And since that, 2019, I gotta say, we moved to this little village from Hamburg to this little village in Schleswig-Holstein, in the middle of nowhere between Hamburg and Lübeck, near Mölln-Trittau, if somebody's might know that. And yes, since now, then my mental health and overall well-being has never been better, like being here in this little village. So to stop that now, where I'm at now.
Wonderful. I have to just jump back to that idiom you used, kalte Nase, right? Cold nose. Explain what that means to the English audience, because I don't think they're going to understand it.
It just means like that you're like, like being afraid of something, or think, oh, I might not rather do that. Or
So in
yeah,
English, we don't get cold noses, we get cold feet, just so you know.
I know. I know. I'm sorry. I now realize
fine.
what point it was. It not was the idiom. It was just meant at the exam. I was
Right.
sitting there with a running nose, and
Oh, really?
it wa-
Okay, okay.
yes, that's what I wanted to say. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
thought you were saying as the exam approached, suddenly I was
No,
afraid to take
that
it, but I got over that.
that also. I also had a cold nose, but I really had
So
a running nose and
you had
always had to
cold feet and a runny nose.
and a
Your
running nose and
your
always
nose
had to
was
sneeze.
running,
Yeah.
and your feet were cold.
True. And I was sitting there and stuff.
We were,
But yeah,
we'll use this as we go into the break. We were talking about idioms before, and one of my favorites is in English, we simply say, "What's bugging you?" Right? What's bugging
yeah,
you? And in Germany, in some parts, they'll ask, "What kind of lice are crawling across your liver?" Right?
yeah,
It's a lot more colorful, the
yeah.
German version of "What's bugging you?" Right? We
You
don't
more
like to
get the picture, right?
imagine lice crawling across our liver, but that would really bug us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go to a quick break, and in that break, we've got a little video, I believe. Again, this is pre-recorded. Not everything's completed for the show, but a video that will dive into a little bit about who Dominic is and his work. And when we come back, we're going to sample a little of that and talk about how he serves the elderly, not just physically and in his career, but also with his technology assistance and also with this music. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of Dominic Pedig on Created in the Image of God.
Created in the image of God, I became a person who really likes dogs. So, we are 4 best friends, me and my dog, the other dog of my partner and my partner. We finally became a loving family of 4 beings with our friends. So, and I do music with spiritual background. My dogs are always helping me create lyrics, and they are part of every track I make. So I hope you join us on the podcast. Stick to Created in the Image of God, and we're happy to see you on our podcast where we talk about our dogs, music, spiritual stuff, and many, many stuff more. So, hope to see you.
Welcome back, everyone, to Created in the Image of God with Dominic Pedig. We've just learned about his early years, how his parents' divorce shaped him, how his journeys from the north to the south led him back to a peaceful little hamlet between Lübeck and what was the other city?
Hamburg.
Hamburg and Lübeck. I've been there, traveling into the old, there were several corridors right back in the day to go to East Germany. I remember making some of those trips. I remember being in Lübeck. A lot of change on that continent constantly and in your nation. But what we want to talk about is the change in you, right? So you're now in this little hamlet, how did you begin to inject this technology? I assume it's because the people that you were working with, the elderly that you were providing care to, needed that. Is that the correct assumption? Is that how that happened, or how did you begin to integrate technology and music into your work?
No, actually, it was just like technology was always a part of my life. I've always been very interested in tech in general, and since I don't know, I think 15, that where I had my first PC, I really used this as a tool to help me, yeah, get to know more stuff and also get to know people over the internet. And especially as a gay person living in Germany, and you're not in the biggest city or stuff, it's really difficult to get to know other gay persons. And as I said in the before, I met my friend that I'm now together with 15 years long, also on the internet, and I searched on whole Germany, and yeah, that's like always been a part of my life. And I'm also really, yeah, more interested than the general in just like scrolling TikTok or stuff. So as for example, I don't use TikTok at all. Of course, I also think look at Instagram or stuff, but of some products I really stay away also because I think that's not good for me. So I think in general you shouldn't do any technology stuff that's coming out and people say, "Oh, do this." So you should be aware of how you're using it and how you're yeah, consuming it, because maybe you can learn something from it and not just look at videos and stuff. Like, you know, it's also something different if you're looking at a podcast like this, or if you're just like, yeah, looking at random YouTube videos. You know, that was rather my interest. And the thing with the music just came up like 1 year ago, as it all became more popular with doing AI-based music. And then I really got into this. A friend of mine told me, and as I did this, it opened up so much of my inner feelings, and I had so much joy creating this lyrics with the music. And it's, of course, it's made by a computer, but it's still my lines that I put in there, and it's still, I said, do this hip hop music or classical influence, this and that instrument, guitar. You can really define it really yeah, detailed. And what there's coming out is always like a miracle, you know. It's always like random, but still in the end it's the song I'm choosing which one to release. It's so much work, of course. And I think I created in this over 1 year, I think it's about 10,000 of tracks or something, and a bit over 100 I released in this time of the last year, since April. And yeah, it helped me
So
really much.
let's explore a little bit your musical influences. Before you started creating this, what was the music that appealed to you, and why?
It was always the kind of hip hop, rap, R&B, like general black music, I would say. But I've also had, because of my friends, listened to classical music. And I also like really jazz and some electro or chill stuff I also really like. But yeah, I'm open. But for example, I would never do like techno, boom, 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 or that's like something where I couldn't stand, or rock or something that's, yeah, against my taste, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, taste in music is an interesting discussion. In my own work, I wove music in, not literally the music, but the lyrics that evoke the music, especially the music of the Beatles, which, you know, were so universally listened to and known and understood. So you know, for those who know those songs, all you need to do is give the title of the song, and suddenly there's an emotion associated with it. But everybody's reference point is different. Whatever they were going through emotionally in their life when they heard and became familiar with that music, that's what will come back to them, the feelings. So it's evocative, it can be interpreted. And in my first book, I put this quote by Sir Thomas Beecham, shared it with you earlier. He's a British conductor. The function of music is to release us from the tyranny of conscious thought, to open up, it's in that sense a little bit more like a dreamlike state, a different type of consciousness. And I think for me, when you mention techno, boom, 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 or even rock, there's a certain deadening of feeling, or a numbing of emotion. And rather than letting the emotion breathe, it may be, in the one hand, it evokes a more binary, a more primal emotion. Anyway,
and suppresses other stuff, right?
Exactly. So it does, function differently for different people in different ways, and people, but your application of it, let's go there. You have prepared a little playlist for the show. Let's listen to one of your pieces, and maybe you can tell us first which one we're going to listen to, why, and what you were wanting to achieve when you created it.
Yes, let me share you the screen from here, and I prepared a playlist. So here we go. The first song that we're going to listen to is KUNST, the Good Vibes Only version. You can see this, right?
Right, and those letters spell art in German,
Yes,
right?
those letters spell
But you've
art,
broken it up
and
into different pieces. So why is that?
yes,
And different
true.
spaces
And
between the letters. Why is that?
the background of behind this track or these lyrics is that I talked to a good friend, and then we talked about Kunst, and then I realized there's this uns in the middle of Kunst, and I never thought of that. And uns means we or us in German. So and that about this fact, I'm rhyming there, and and it's also playing with language, and also reference to German words that you in America are using, like Weltschmerz, for example. So we're gonna dive in.
Weltschmerz meaning feeling the pain of the world, right?
Yes, true.
K to the U and S to T. Kunst. What is in between it ends? On. Translate, it means us or we. On's a German word. Here we use Wort as sword. Suffering from Weltschmerz isn't a chaise. You think you are good at burning heads, but it is people behind these letters. Heavy things like 1,000 feathers. It's uns between the K and the T. It is us, the team, playing pain for tea. Now everyone can be who they wanna be. Express yourself, you ain't someone else. Scared of reality, try a bubble, you owe, druid elf. It's hard to believe, but you will achieve everything that you can imagine. Now is the right time for hiking. Let's go and start up the engine. Now you are in control, you with your soul. Finally together, feeling one as a whole. One as a wall, full of bricks building a home. Together as all elements of this universe. We got it in our hands, heart's head. We shouldn't be sad, but happy instead. Faith, love, hope, keep alive the Pope. The church used God as excuse. God gave these dudes some bruise. He was right who he did choose. Being a Christian is what he missed him. Being a Christian is what he missed him. But being bad isn't better no matter the weather. Being bad isn't better no matter the weather. We break the mold, we ain't never been told. Rising like smoke, we be chasing the gold. Pushing the limits, we do it for the soul. Ain't no gimmicks, just a team on a roll. From the streets to the peaks, we got that fire. Elevate your dreams, take them higher and higher. We built this from scratch like it's pure desire. Ain't no looking back, we the ones to admire. Clock's ticking fast, but we stay in control. A rhythm in our hearts, a beat in our soul. We shine through the chaos, we rise to the toll. Together, unstoppable, making it whole. It's not about paper, it's not about trends. It's about love, loyalty, making amends. We break every chain, we make our own bends. True to the mission until the world ends. This one tightens up the flow, adds more of a confident swagger, and keeps the slick vibe. Let me know if this works.
So Dominic,
Can we
if we
pause
could,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just in the interest of the time we have,
Yeah,
that
sure.
that was wonderful and beautiful. And as we go to the other segments, maybe we'll play like 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I love the lyrics. I love the music. I love the feeling, the vibe. I mean, it really is an amazing song. And I'm
Yeah.
going to have
Thank
to
you
add
very
it
much.
to my playlist. So first of all, how can people access this?
Yeah, you can access this as you see, like my artist name is like DPCG. It's also my Instagram handle if you want to follow me on there. And just like if you look at my name, it's the first letters and the last letters. That's how it combines. Yeah, you can find it anywhere at any streaming
So as a
platform that you like.
mnemonic, Dominic Pedig created God, DPCG.
Oh my God, yeah, that's very nice of you.
Okay, so I don't know what the
Yeah.
CG means, but that will help the audience
It's
remember.
it's just like the C is the last letter of Dominic, and the G is the last letter of
Well,
Peter.
there you go.
know?
There you go.
Yeah,
So DPCG, however you want to remember that.
right.
And yeah, amazing. I love it. And some of the thoughts in the words, in the beginning was the word. For my
Yeah.
audience, I've launched a series. We had Max Stossel on a couple of nights ago on Tuesday night. He is a poet and a celebrated storyteller of the year, Forbes said last year. And he has this beautiful vignette about 2 babies talking in the womb, and he uses words to move. Words that move is his thing. So these words in your song moved me on a couple of levels, and I'm just going to share quickly, especially to our Baha'i friends.
Yeah.
The first hidden word of Baha'u'llah, purifying our heart, and the second hidden word, and this is the important one that was evoked in some of the lyrics of your song, everyone must see it through their own eyes and not through the
Yeah.
eyes of another. And you talked about each of us individually. There's the us, uns, in the
Mhm.
middle of the word art in German. But art is interpreted differently by each one of us. And
True.
your lyrics, weave those thoughts together in a very beautiful way, I thought.
Yeah. And like what I also like wanted to say, like it's your decision, like it's your own decision what you're doing. Like maybe that's often the thing that I think that people don't realize. They think it's just like life is happening, but it's them, it's their own soul that has the ability to change their own lives. Like that's what I'm like that
It's
they realize that.
It's fundamental. It goes back to the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were given a choice, and we chose as a species to, eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Mm,
We put, in that sense, we put the tree of life on hold, and we were told that we would have a temporary physical existence that would end in death. But as Max Stossel in his vignette about the 2 babies in the womb, arguing about, is there life after delivery? And one baby said, well, of course, I believe in mother. And the other baby laughs, you believe in mother? Are you kidding me? Nobody's ever come back from there. So obviously it doesn't exist. Wouldn't they
mm,
come back and tell us if there really was life after delivery and if they had really met mother? No, mother is all around us. And when I sit quietly, I can hear her breathing.
it's true. It's
And
like yeah, sorry.
well, so, the babies in the womb don't necessarily make choices, or at least we don't understand the choices they're making, if they indeed are making any choices. But we are consciously making choices. We are choosing how to interpret a given situation. We talked about Dominic's and my childhood and divorce and how we choose to interpret that. I was wrapped around the axle for many years in frustration, anger, disillusionment, hurt feelings, feeling a loss of love, disoriented. But ultimately, I had to interpret that God was guiding me and training me and strengthening me on a path of growth and the development of virtues by my own choice, choosing the good, choosing to build and grow and strengthen myself in a positive way and be of service to others. So Dominic, let's talk a little bit now about your service to the elderly and what that's like for you. I want to just talk. Well, actually, we're gonna come back because we got to go to quick commercial break now. We're at the end of the time for this segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about that service, what it means, and how you're doing that and what you're getting from it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of DPCG.
Discover the world's religious traditions like never before with Ocean 2.0 Reader. Our custom ebook reader is designed for exploration and study with an immersive audio integrated reading experience and powerful research tools available on all platforms including web, Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, and iOS. Experience the benefits of immersive reading by combining ear and eye with improved comprehension and vocabulary acquisition. Our interfaith library features books from various religions, so you can have access to a wealth of knowledge. Try Ocean 2.0 Reader today and elevate your reading experience.
Welcome back to Created in the Image of God. I'm here with DPCG, Dominic Pedig, musician, elderly care provider, technology guru, mastering the art of, what did you say, 10,000 tracks and distilling them into 100 released songs?
Yeah, I think so. That's
all right.
like,
So right before the break, we were talking about service and service to others, deploying your skills and talents, working with the elderly. We'll look a little bit more at your music here in a minute, but tell us what that's like and what you get from being a elderly care provider.
yeah, and generally doing this job gives me a lot of good vibes, I think, and also good karma points, I believe in, like that I'm doing a good job helping these elderly people. And of course, yeah, if you're like a Fachkraft, you also get paid a bit better than the others. So that's also, of course, but if you like maybe just get a little thank you back from a grandma, you're like really happy. And what I also think, like, of course, it's a hard job and you gotta be on time and go, but it's still like if you have 5 minutes for them and talk a bit, it's still for them a pleasure. And if you like them giving good vibes from you, you're coming there happy and saying, "How are you, man?" I'm glad to see you, and just give them a warm feeling. That's, I think, what they most need, like from a caregiver. Like, of course, you shower them and stuff, but I think the feelings that you're giving the person are also very important. And of course, especially if you're like not so well with the workers, so you're just like two workers for 30 people, then it's a bit hard, and you gotta be on time, and everybody just gets the minimum amount of care. But where I work now is really a good workplace, and they also got Betreuung, the Kräfte, we say. They take care and doing games with them or doing gymnastics and stuff. So it's not like if you mentioned, if you're going there, that's the last place. Of course, the people think that, but if you are there to make a difference and you are doing jokes with them or getting them to laugh or something, then it's a good sign, and it helps them. And of course, for many people, it's the last spot in their life where they be before they go up to heaven. But it still can be a nice time, I think. And for me, the job is really giving me a lot. So
I know you mentioned you're not necessarily a fan of rock, but are you familiar with an artist by the name of Elvis Costello?
I don't think so, no.
Wow. Okay, well, Elvis Costello had a song a few years ago. It was one of his hits called Veronica. And this song is about a woman in a nursing home. And I'm just going to pull up the lyrics real quick here,
Yeah.
and read a couple of them. This song, it talks about, Veronica's glory days when she was a young, attractive woman. All the men, were after her. But now she's in a nursing home, and And here's the chorus. Do you suppose that waiting hands on eyes, right? You picture that, waiting hands on eyes. Veronica has gone to hide. All the time, this brings tears to my eyes because I've been to nursing homes and this happens. All the time she laughs at those who shout her name and steal her clothes,
Mm.
right? That, you know, these supposed caretakers are yelling at her while they're stealing the things she
Mm.
has, right? Because these people are defenseless, and
Mm.
people are people, and not everybody is good. And even if somebody is ethical but cold, and maybe, you know, a little bit resentful, that they are stuck working in a nursing home cleaning up the messes, and those messes are not pleasant, right? Bodily function messes, right?
Mm.
That you know, the smells. When we go to the nursing home, there's one woman with dementia who's constantly making these really obnoxious loud noises, and whoever's in her hallway, they can't sleep because, you know, she'll be screaming in the middle of the night.
Mm.
You know, it's not a pleasant place, and if you work there every day, you can become cold and callous. And even if you're providing your service, those residents know whether or not you enjoy taking care of them and want to, or whether you resent it.
Mm.
You follow me?
Yeah.
So I just want to just kind of evoke the situation and what a difference it makes when you bring your heart and positive spiritual intent of service into that environment and
Mm.
care for these people.
True, and I think like what you mentioned now is like really the most important point of this, because you're always realizing this. It depends on who you're working with and of their energy too. Like if there's a person that's helping you that's like totally hectic and said, "Oh, we gotta go," and this is like going towards the residents, and they are catching this too. And if this happens, it catches, yeah, and it gets bad. Like the situation, you realize that then mistakes happen, and you say, "Please do this and that." It's getting forgotten and stuff, and it really yeah, depends on the vibe that you're having with your colleagues also. That's something what you're realizing in working this area.
The to get into a couple of scriptures just to sort of ground this in the Bible, pure and undefiled religion before God, it says, I think in Timothy, is this: to visit the widows and orphans in their affliction and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. Of course, Jesus boiled it down to the golden rule: treat others the way you would want to be treated. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But what does that look like? Well, the widows and the orphans, those who need help. And Matthew 25, the parable of the sheep and the goats, when the Son of Man comes in his glory, he will judge the nations. And then how will he judge them? Did you give a glass of water to the thirsty? Did you clothe the naked? Did you feed the hungry? Did you serve the older people in the nursing homes who would fit right in there? Did you visit me when I was sick or in prison?
Yeah.
Did you show human kindness? And in prison, it doesn't say innocently in prison, right? You know, this person might have been imprisoned for a reason, and a good reason, but they're still a human being. And the hope that they could have of change, repentance, growth, getting back on a positive track must be instilled with the gentle, softening act of human kindness.
True.
And so, Dominic, thank you for that. Let's go to another track.
Yeah, let's go to another track. Let me share my screen again. I got now the track Polarized as Iron Sharpens Iron.
One of my favorite verses, by the way: iron sharpens
Yeah,
iron.
yeah,
So
and
a man sharpens the countenance of his friend, right?
yes,
Friendship
right.
sometimes comes to blows. There's, again, a Baha'i quote is, only in the clash of differing opinions can the shining spark of truth emerge. Iron sharpens iron. Go ahead.
True. Let me play this for us here.
As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Protect can tear you down. Drowning in the data clutter. Love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew 22:39. But what if they fear the truth? You choose to wear on your fur-lined shelf. With a beard go brawny but bruised in his digital days, feeling dazed and confused, scrolling through silence, swiping left for rejection, seeking soul salvation but lost in connection. Trying to pull at his side, strong, sturdy and stout, but the world moves so fast, can't keep the wolves out. Newfoundland dog brings warmth like home-cooked stew, yet the cold screen stares like it don't know you.
So we're gonna pause again.
That's great. A very different vibe in that one. Why did you choose that particular musical sensibility for those lyrics?
Yeah, I think because these lyrics are a bit more like, yeah, I don't want to say negative, but they're more mentioning out the modern world and how it like shapes us in today's society. Like that is also having bad effects, like for example in the beginning is saying swiping left for rejection, just saying like we're having on our phones Tinder and just swiping the people away, and just from their image, like it's so degrading this person as a human being, I think. And that's like technology that I also mentioned before, that you don't might want to get into, like and avoid of stuff, and that is also keeping distance between us rather than bringing us more closely. I think that's what I also want to mention in this part, like the negative aspects of modern tech and how it shapes maybe our dating world and stuff.
Wow. Thank you. Let's go to then that last track and listen to that one.
Yeah, all right. That last track I especially made for us here for this podcast, and
Wow, it's the worldwide debut of this track.
yeah, actually, right. And the thing is, the track was created before, but in German, and especially made this also with the in mind the word hymn, like you said before. And,
Hymn meaning HYMN, right? The
right.
hymn.
Yes.
Because I did suggest to Dominic that we would try to have maybe a hymn-like quality to this presentation, inspiring and inviting to all the listeners. Go ahead.
True. So let's go ahead.
Oh, this one was done on vinyl. It was done on vinyl.
Right. That's awesome, right?
But you are there. Oh God, you are near. Oh God, over you. Wherever you've been, oh God. Oh God, you've seen me. In the church, I was baptized as a baby. By the time I turned 1, I was standing already. As a teen, I got confirmed in the end. But back in those days, I could not comprehend. When I turned 19 and saw you in the trees, suddenly my heart dropped to its knees. You would protect me wherever I fall. Before I go down, you'd steady it all. Your love began to help me grow. Though I kept stepping in puddles below. From city to village, through wounds and through scars, healing kept coming, no matter how far. When we met again in 2019.
Wow, I
that's
can
enough.
I thank you for that. I can hear the autobiographical
Yeah,
story, but it's made universal.
true. Like it could fit for anybody.
Wow, we're going to have to talk about some intro and outro music for the show, and maybe having you do a little music for some of the things we would want. That's so beautiful,
Yeah,
so touching,
of course.
so moving.
And like it really is still like when I'm listening to this, always like touching my heart, and I say, "Oh, this is my music," and it's like going directly inside me, and it's like I also became so much more like yeah, better mood and stuff since I'm doing this music stuff now since this 1 year. And because I get so much joy like listening to this, and I also like what I want to say, like with being this hip hop influence, like if you're growing older, of course you're also thinking, yeah, what are they talking about there, and violence and stuff, and then you're realizing this is actually not good for you listening to this. But like since now I put my own lyrics, my own good vibe stuff, and listening to this, I feel so much better. So.
Wow. And it's bringing to mind the imagery from the book of Revelation and elsewhere about the throne of God surrounded by music, heavenly chorus, the singing praises to God. Just beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
We are now, really coming to the end of the time we have. We've got the sneak peek of next week coming up. Dominic, what thoughts would you like to leave with the audience today as we wrap this up?
Yeah, I first want to say thank you to you, Wade, for having me here. Like it was really a nice time talking to you and finding out that we have so much in common in our past life. And yeah, and I also want to, of course, sort of advise the people to listen to my music. And also, if you want to go to my website, where is my support as IT stuff, you can also contact me over there if you like. It's
what is
like,
so it's DPCG that they can just put it in Google or DuckDuckGo,
yeah,
or any search engine?
yes, the website is just like my artist handle DPCG and .de for Germany, and there you can find anything, and it's still in the making that there's also the music stuff, and yeah, you can go over there and contact me. And also, if you like want to have a song with your lyrics, you can also contact me, and I be writing a song if you like.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope that people will get in touch with you, Dominic, and I will also be in touch with you. I'll be certainly, taking you up on that offer to do some music, perhaps for the show, and maybe you can put your little fingerprints on it in terms of intro or outro, because you've got an AI assisted talent there for sure. I am familiar with AI. I use it for writing, but I would be at a loss to create. As much as I love music, there's a lot of heart there as well. It's not just the technology.
True. Thank you very much. And like as I said, it's not just like putting in and then you're setting, okay, this song goes upload. You gotta listen to 100 tracks sometimes and still not satisfied. But the more I've been doing this, the more I'm getting the feeling of like, now this is the track that I want. This is it. That you really feel this then.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna then go quickly into the sneak peek and wrap it up. We'll be looking at next week's show here on Creating an Image of God. Dominic, thank you so much for being with us here this morning as we were pre-recorded, and this evening as the show was aired.
Thank you very much.
And we'll definitely be in touch. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for the sneak peek coming up next. And I'll sign off in advance with the awareness that each and every one of you is created in the image of God, and God loves his creation. We'll see you next week. Hello, everyone. It's Wade Franson, host of Created in the Image of God. I'm here with a sneak peek for episode 169, airing on August 19th, with a fascinating young woman, Nikki Honorado, who is here. She's from Prepare to Be Pursued, and she has this unique perspective and vantage point where she uses the book of Ruth in particular to reach women with a message that helps them re-enter the dating world after having been away for whatever reason and perhaps needing a little bit of coaching. Welcome to the studio, Nikki.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Well, this is a unique and powerful niche in today's world where relationships can be difficult and times are changing and women need maybe a little help and coaching as they re-enter the dating world from whatever perspective. What inspired you to get into this space in helping women in this way?
It's been an interesting, very, very interesting journey. But I would say long and short of it, through just having personal excitement around talking about relationships and men and women and things of that nature. I did it as a hobby, just having fun, and then slowly but surely began to be invited to moderate other people's events and things of that nature. And it just grew in regards to the audiences that I would attract to some of the events I will host myself or that I will host for others. And people will start to tell me that I should look into doing this professionally, whatever that meant. And so after years of hearing that feedback, I began researching ways to do it professionally, and coaching is what I was led to.
And what is it about the story of Ruth from the Bible? This one little vignette, we have the Bible, which is God's handbook for mankind. And I found it fascinating that you focused in on the book of Ruth in this specific context. What was it that sort of gave you the key to know that this would work?
Oh my God, I love this question so much. The book of Ruth is absolutely fascinating. There's so many secrets and keys in it. And I took a course in my at my then church when I lived in Maryland, and they really broke down the context in the word so that we can better understand the times and why certain things were done and the principles and the traditions and the culture. And so it made me wonder, wow, if the same sentiments could be applied to a different time, will it work? And it absolutely does. Ruth does a number of things that are absolutely applicable to today, but most women have absolutely no clue how to make it make sense for today.
I'm a big fan of the idea that sometimes you have to go back to go forward. I'm reminded of a quote by Solomon. I'm going to throw you a third question. I normally don't do this, but this is such an interesting topic. There's this quote in the Proverbs. I forget what Solomon says. There are these number of things that are too wonderful for me to comprehend. The way of a serpent on a rock. I forget. The other one might be the way of an eagle in the sky. And then he says the way of a man with a maid. Right? Are you familiar with that proverb? That it was like a mystery to Solomon, even the wisest man who ever lived. I'm not surprised. What do we men know? But you're helping women with this, right? What's your comment on that? The way of a man with a maid from Proverbs.
I love that you brought that up. I need to go back to that scripture to really study it, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that at sometimes men can be in awe of how they respond to a woman, because what I really, really believe very, very strongly is Ruth walked in what I call allure. I mean, I didn't make up that word, but I love to use that word because as it's defined, it's simply a mysterious quality, right? That makes basically a woman irresistible, which leads me to believe that this is not a physical attribute. If it wasn't mysterious, then everybody will see it. Okay, this person's beautiful. That's why men are, intrigued with her. But there's nothing in the word that says that Ruth was particularly a beautiful woman. We know Esther was beautiful. We know other women, in the word were beautiful, but it never mentions that about Ruth. But there were things that Boaz explained about her nature, her character, that showed us exactly why he was interested. So yeah, sometimes in actually, I spoke at a event recently, and one of the panelists said that he can't even understand why he was so enamored by his now wife.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
whether
so it is
Ruth was
something.
beautiful or not, she was certainly
Yeah,
attractive to
there you
Boaz,
go.
right? Well,
100%.
thank you so much, Nikki. We're going to get into a lot of juicy discussion on this topic. So you're not going to want to miss episode 169 coming next week on August 19th, 8 p.m. Central Time with Nikki Anarato. We'll look forward to seeing you there.